Well, guys, Democrats say we are living in the Handmaid's Tale, a dystopian autocracy where women's rights are being snuffed out in broad daylight. But then Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does this little stunt and doesn't seem to see the irony.
Selflessness and solidarity. And most importantly, we renew our commitment to our because when we work together with devotion to our neighbors, our community, and to this country, we can bring light into the darkness. So thank you once again for having me here today. Eid Mubarak, and
There AOC is in a hijab, preaching solidarity and other progressive virtue signal words at an Islamic prayer event in her district in the Bronx, and the entire crowd of Orthodox Muslim men is ignoring her and talking over her. She was there with New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, who also didn't look like he heard a single thing she said. There was constant noise and interruption from the audience. Now, AOC is the self-proclaimed feminist warrior who cries about the patriarchy every chance she gets, and she's wearing the headscarf as a sign of respect for the religious community that she's talking to, which takes modesty seriously. In 2018, AOC supported her friend Ilhan Omar and her choice to wear a hijab as a sign of empowerment. She said, "This year, and with Ilhan's leadership, we're gonna flip the script and tell hijabi girls all over the world that they can run the board, fight for Medicare for all, and rock a nice headscarf if they please." But we haven't heard much activism from AOC about those Middle Eastern countries where it's definitely not a choice. Iran, Afghanistan under the Taliban, where women are beaten, jailed, or killed for taking it off. Mahsa Ahmadinejad is an exiled Iranian journalist and activist living here in the United States who has evaded multiple assassination and kidnapping plots by the Iranian regime for saying this.
Within a year, 3.6 million women were warned and stopped by the morality police in the street. Why? Because of not wearing a proper Islamic hijab. That hijab is just the most visible symbol of oppression. Yes, we know that this is a small piece of cloth, but when this piece of cloth is in the hand of those government who do not believe in hijab, and they've beaten you to make you be pure, and they always try to convince you that this is good for you, and they take your identity away from you.
So her advocacy has been to merely encourage women to speak in public, protest, remove their compulsory hijabs that AOC wears as a costume to pander to voters in her district. While AOC was doing that photo op, by the way, Ahmadinejad was in federal court facing the fourth hitman hired by the Islamic Republic to kill her for speaking up and undermining the regime. So AOC wore the hijab voluntarily for fun in New York, which is a free state in a free country, while women in Iran are murdered for taking it off because that's seen as rebellion against the regime's authority and the strict gender roles under Sharia law. This past year, Iran executed at least 1,600 people, the highest number recorded in the country since 1989, for protesting the regime, something that we do very freely and comfortably here in the United States.
And then the guy was sending a text message and saying this bitch is hard to catch. And I'm like, yeah, thanks to the law enforcement, I am hard to kill, but my fellow Iranian colleagues, they receive death sentence. They, like people, ordinary citizen journalists, they don't have protection. They go to the streets and they get killed.
Where is AOC's condemnation of that brutality? All she's argued is that Trump's war in Iran, which he's prosecuting to end the dictatorship for the peace of not only the citizens of Iran, but the world. She has said that is illegal and a violation of international law. But back to the principle of the hijab. Remember My Body, My Choice? This was AOC right after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, ending the so-called constitutional right to abortion.
That's something that is going to be solved in a day or in an election or in a year. Because we got to strap in. This is a generational fight.
My body, my choice, except when the mayor recommends you cover up so as not to make The Muslim attendee's uncomfortable. Then my body, my choice goes out the window, I guess. AOC should try shouting my body, my choice in Iran and see how far she gets. And recall that AOC has ranted ad nauseum in Congress about pervasive sexism in America, the structural inequity and system of oppression against women right here in these United States.
This issue is not about one incident. It is cultural. It is a culture of lack of impunity, of accepting of violence and violent language against women, and an entire structure of power that supports that.
But then, just to win votes and score inclusivity points, she throws on the garment that a lot of women in Iran, Afghanistan have no choice but to wear so as not to get death threats. Fighting the patriarchy by embracing a symbol used by actual theocracies to enforce it? Democrats have fearmongered that the US, under the Trump administration, is turning into Gilead from Margaret Atwood's book. They claim they're fighting for women's self-determination, but then they make a strange alliance with groups that have wildly different views on women's rights, LGBT issues, free speech, you name it, as long as it means votes and power. Take the Palestinian cause. Their government is technically Hamas, the barbaric terrorist organization that perpetrated October 7th, the worst attack against the Jewish people since the Holocaust, raping and killing many women, and they ruthlessly punish homosexuals. But there's silence from the left about most of that Hamas committed because they care more about their coalition than principles and consistency. Just look at how they are turning a blind eye to the really gross scandals and past remarks of Graham Plattner, who's running in Maine for a Senate seat as a Democrat. Selective feminism, though, isn't feminism. Selective advocacy for human rights isn't solidarity. It's political cosplay. Let's just call it what it is.